Hey everybody, Brian Gleis here from the Scott Insurance Agency. Hope you guys are doing well. I've always been told that the best way to get something across is through a story. So here is my long-term care story. Long-term care is a product that's been around forever, and most people think about it as nursing home insurance, which is what it was portrayed as in the very beginning. So I've been selling insurance for roughly 18 years, which I know isn't a terribly long time, but it's long enough to have heard the stories, been able to make the sales and things like that. So as I entered my insurance career, one of the first things that you do is that you sell insurance to your family members. And if you're one of my family members, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if you're not one of my family members, if you're one of my people, I sure do appreciate you and can't express enough gratitude. But so mom and dad, I looked to sign them up for long-term care. Now it just so happened that mom and dad's health was not at a point where they would qualify for any long-term care carrier that I represented as far as that goes. So that was a bummer. And we wanted to make sure mom and dad would be well taken care of as they grew older. So when Jill and I built our house, we had a master plan. We built an apartment in our house basically for mom and dad where they can enter in through the garage, have access to a private bathroom. They can hang a hard left down the hallway as they come in and go to their bedroom, their private space, or they can hang a right as they come in and have access to our full kitchen. And the living room is just off the other doorway. So they could have as much privacy or as much inclusion to the family as they wanted, because we said there may come a day where you guys will come and live with us. And when Jacob was 3 years old and we built a house, he wasn't of the understanding he was of the understanding that they should come live with us right away. We explained, no, that's not the way it works, son. So in years past, I've talked to my parents and things like that, and I had a conversation with my mom. And it was a deep conversation at that moment, and I told her, I don't want you to worry about anything. I says, Mom, we'll take care of you if anything were to happen to you or Dad, and if you should need assistance. And at that time, my mother looked at me, and she said, son, I have no doubt that you will take care of me, but that doesn't mean that I want you to. Now that took a minute to sink into my head. And while I was looking at just trying to be a good son, which hopefully I am, I took away a little bit of the pride that they have in living on their own and things like that. So I'm proud to say that mom and dad are going to be 82 years old this year. They're still living on their own at their house. It's a quarter of a mile away from my house, so we have the opportunity to get to them whenever we need to. But even though mom and dad didn't qualify for quote unquote long-term care insurance, we have to understand that they do still have a long-term care plan, just like each and every person does. So their long-term care plan, whether they like it or not, is to spend down their assets until they reach the level of Medicaid. Now, Medicaid has very stiff rules as far as how much assets you can keep, whether you own your home, whether you own your car, and things like that. And there's also a stigma sometimes that is attached to the word Medicaid, because Medicaid is typically for people that are right at the poverty level. Well, in this particular case, if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at long-term care costs or facility costs, you will understand so quickly that a person's assets will not last long. Now, there are ways and techniques that you can use to try to shelter your assets, whether that's a Medicaid trust, whether that's gifting, but there's all kinds of rules that you have to understand, like the 5-year look-back period that Medicaid uses. So it's not like you can just gift all of your possessions to your children one day and then say, yay, I qualify for Medicaid. That's not the way it works. Now, we have one child. His name's Jacob. He's 20 years old. He's off in Peoria, Illinois, 3.5 hours away from us, going to college, adulting, learning how to be an adult. Jill and I are here taking care of the homestead, still taking care of the boy, even though he's 3.5 hours away. But we also have the pleasure of having my mom and dad. We jokingly say we have the 3 best children ever. Jacob, who's 20, mom, who's 81, and dad's, who's 81, soon to be 82, both of them a little bit later on this year. And then we have my wife's parents. Thankfully, everybody's still roaming around, and they're going to come in right after my parents, of course. So Jill and I said, we need to start looking at this pretty seriously. So Jill and I applied for long-term care. I'm 49 years old. Jill's 49 years old, for just a little bit longer. But I'm surprised I didn't get a yell on that. She's sitting in the other room. But we decided that we should apply for long-term care. We wanted to do it while our health is as such that we will still qualify. And as an insurance agent, we had to think about what type of long-term care would be best for us. Now, one of the things that I have noticed on traditional long-term care policies over the 18 years that I've been doing insurance is that people will come up to me. This actually happened last week. It happened to Jill's grandfather as well. Came up to me and said, Brian, I have a question on a long-term care policy. Now, I didn't sell this policy. I actually have not sold a ton of long-term care in my career, and there's reasons, and we'll get to that. But the person that came in the office advised me that they received a letter in the mail that said the cost of their long-term care was going to go up. Now, when you sell a traditional long-term care policy, you are told that your rates cannot go up unless the rates for the entire class of people increase. Now that sounds kind of cool, but I have seen it happen time and time again. The lady that was in my office, her letter said that her rates were going to take a 100% increase. Now they were going to institute that over the next 4 years, which was supposed to make her feel a little bit better. Now this individual that was in my office has a better understanding than most. She said, so far, we've paid $56,000 into this long-term care program. However, she understands that the value of long-term care is to protect their assets. And in the grand scheme of things, paying in $56,000 over these number of years for her long-term care is a small drop in the bucket compared to what the insurance will provide her. But not everybody can tolerate a 100% increase. If they can't tolerate the increase that the letter says, the letter always says, well, we will allow you to lower your benefits. Now, as an insurance agent, I don't want to put any of my clients through that. As an insurance agent, that's not the letter that I want to get when I'm 76, 86. Grandpa passed away at 96 years of age. And got the letter just before he passed away, of course. I don't ever want to get that letter. So as an insurance agent, what I did was I applied for one of the newer models of care. It's a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider. It's through a company by the name of Nationwide. The product is called Care Matters 2. So it is a life insurance policy, but its emphasis is on accumulation of wealth for long-term care. So it acts like a whole life insurance policy that grows cash values, that grow each year, that I can use at the time when I need them. So right now, if something were to happen to me at age 49 years of age and I were to need long-term care, the policy would provide me $2,500 a month. Now that's not much. I'm also not planning on using it anytime soon. So when you look at the illustration, which is what drives a life insurance policy, I know that by the time I get in my 80s, my $2,500 benefit will have grown to the area of $5,000, $6,000 a month. And that's what I'm really shooting for. This particular product allows me to pay this up between now and the age of 65. Now there's other payment plans out there, of course, but that's the one that my wife and I chose. We bit the bullet, said we're from the age of 50 to 65, we're gonna pay for this, and then after the age of 65, no more payments as far as that goes. This particular plan is not an indemnity plan. Whenever I go on claim, I do not have to submit bills in order to get reimbursed from the long-term care plan. Now, it does have some attributes that act just like long-term care insurance does, like a waiting period. The waiting period kind of acts like a deductible. My particular plan has a 90-day waiting period, which means once I go on claim, and the definition of going on claim is that either Jill or I can no longer do 2 of the 7 activities of daily living, things like transporting, toileting, bathing, dressing, feeding, all of those things are examples of the activities of daily living. If we couldn't do 2 of those, then we would have the ability to go on claim. The Care Matters 2 product simply pays us a monthly benefit. Now, yes, a doctor has to say, no, Brian and Jill can't do 2 of those 7 activities, but after that, they pay us our monthly benefit. We do not have to send in the receipts. I can use that monthly benefit, whether that is for nursing home care or whether that is for in-home care. It is my opinion anyway, that the market for long-term care is shrinking, okay? That's one of the reasons why I chose not to do a traditional long-term care plan. Now, I won't say that there is not room for a traditional long-term care plan. Each person is individual. Each person that sits in front of me, if I have someone that comes in and they say, Brian, I want a long-term care plan, I know the facility that I want to stay in, I have priced the facility, I know how much it's going to cost on a daily basis, we can write a traditional long-term care plan that will meet that person's needs incredibly well. But at the age of 49, I don't know what the world is going to be like at that time. And right now, with the information that I have available, I think that a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider is best for me and my family. And that's what's most important. So when Jacob is a man, well, he's a man now, I guess. But when Jacob is a grown adult and Jill and I are older in our years, we want to make sure that we don't have to burden our kiddo, that we can try to preserve our assets as best as we know how. And we'll still use tools like a lawyer who will write us a trust, maybe even a Medicare trust or a Medicaid trust, I'm sorry. But we're still going to surround ourselves with the individuals that has knowledge that we don't. That's part of the role that I want to play in your portfolio. I want to be the insurance professional that can steer you through these products and make sense of it. So now at 49 years of age, I have atrial fibrillation and I also have sleep apnea. It was not the easiest thing in the world to get underwritten on the Care Matters 2 product. Now, they worked with me. I sent in EKGs. I did a wellness checkup. You know, they checked my A1C. They did my blood work. They did everything. I worked hard to satisfy any questions that the underwriters had in order to get this plan. The nationwide Care Matters 2 plan is not the only plan out there like this, but not all plans are created equal as far as that goes. There's never enough money at the end of the month. Jill and I sometimes have envy as far as other people out there, because what we have is we have a house and 2 cars and lots of expensive pieces of paper. We don't have the boats, we don't have the lake house, we don't have the ATVs or the motorcycles and things like that. Now that's all a choice, and God bless you if you do have all of that. I just want to plant a seed that in your late 40s, early 50s is the time to check out long-term care, whether that is a traditional long-term care policy or whether that's a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider. You want it to be with a reputable company. We will help you through the underwriting process, let you know what to expect, and if we receive a declination, we will continue to move down the path to other carriers. I just want you to keep this in the forefront of your mind, because I have a lot of people that ask about long-term care at the point that they think they're going to need it in a year or two. And by then, it's almost always too late to pass underwriting. Now, I know that's a catch-22, but it's the reason for this long, obnoxious video, is because I want to share with you that I saw what my parents went through. They weren't able to qualify. We have tried to shore things up, but I know if there's any nursing home or long-term care needs, it's going to be spent directly from their assets. We can help you fix that. If you don't have contacts to an attorney to help you with trusts, to help you with wills, to help you avoid probate, all of these things tie in together. And I also want you to think about your kiddos. Now, me and Jill just have Jacob. He's our golden child as far as that goes. You guys might be blessed and you might have 6, 7, I don't know. There's big families out there. And when you have that many kids, it gives you a little more options. But I have jokingly told my son, you're my golden child, so I need you to make zillions so mom and dad can rest peacefully for the rest of our life. For those of you that have a small ball team, you've got a better chance of that happening. But why do we want to put that kind of pressure on our kiddos if we can do it with a type of insurance, especially with what Jill and I are doing? We're paying it up by the time we're 65 years old. We don't have to worry about it after that. So I'm sure I'll do some more long-term care videos. We'll break this down in a more pragmatic fashion. I just didn't think showing you policies, illustrations, numbers. There's some people that come out with a 40-page fact finder book to do this. And yes, that's doing your due diligence, but there's also the opportunity just to sit down and have a conversation. Tell me what you want. We'll find the product that can do it. So I'm going to start this, or I'm going to end this the way I started it, and say thank you for your business. Thank you for being family. Thank you for being friends. I appreciate the trust that you give me. Everything that I have has a lot to do with you out there. And I still believe that my job is to help people. And if I can help enough people, everything else will take care of itself. And by having this conversation, warning you of some of the pitfalls of the traditional policies where you get those letters in the mail, you've probably heard about it. It's scary, and that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't sell too much long-term care insurance in the past. But now that I've went through the process myself, we're making plans with mom and dad. Not end-of-life plans, but important plans as far as that goes. It's all culminating, and I think if I can share this information and if it resonates and if it makes you feel something, that you'll give us a call and we'll show you how to do what we've done. And there's multiple different paths to do it. The most important thing is tell me what you want and we'll figure out how to do it. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.